let's talk about the challenge of eating well, because it is a challenge. Right off the bat, I spend a lot of time in Montreal, and eating well is just a lot easier because you're not fighting against all of the stuff that the big industry is doing to get you to eat bad food. And that's really true. RFK Jr. has been talking about this, and good for him for doing so. But it's exhausting. It's like you're figuring it out. Whereas I go to the grocery store when I'm in Montreal, and the food I'm going to get is just going to be better. I notice it tastes better. It's more satiating. Then the question is, why do I eat bad food at all? And part of it is I feel weird if I'm eating a super healthy diet. I feel like talk to people and, that vegetarian kale smoothie has done wonders for me. I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to, and I feel like I'd rather get advice from like John Wayne or Clint Eastwood, but the former is dead and the latter doesn't return my calls. But they would probably give good advice. And I don't want it to be a thing that defines me. I don't want it to be like I am pro or anti-vaccine. I am pro good food, bad food, whatever. I don't want to hope that it's going to change my life radically. I just want to eat better. That's all. I'd like to feel like I'm getting something special sometimes in the day, and that I am special. And the way I get that special thing is by eating something often that is unhealthy, rebellious, what have you. I used to drink a lot of Diet Coke, and I found something to substitute for that I'm not going to tell you about, because I'm not going to be that guy who's like, you should have the, no. Figure it out yourself. Find something that makes you feel special when you have it, but that is better for you. And then I used to eat in order to get that little bump of energy, that sugar snack in the afternoon, because who doesn't want a little bit more energy? But then if it's going to impact you down the road and you're going to get twice the hit afterwards, plus you're going to get the health hit, maybe it's not really a great bargain. Maybe you instead have to take a rest in the afternoon. And I also don't like spending a ton of time prepping food. So what do? I prep a lot of it and I freeze it. And so what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to reduce the amount of processed foods that I eat. It means I make a lot of stuff myself, trying to reduce the amount of sugar and that risk of diabetes. And I'm trying to lose a bit of weight. So what can I do? I try to tweak what I eat to make compromises. So I might add things to the oatmeal that are going to be good, walnuts and blueberries and all that kind of stuff. But again, I don't want to talk about it too much because I don't want to be that guy. And I can find ways to make food special without it being bad. And I'm finding I can't tell you any of these things because I don't want to be that guy. But you'll figure it out, right? And find the things that work better for me. Like my own guilty sins, like popcorn with a lot of butter. More and more they're finding that that's not a terrible thing. Or broccoli and meat and cheese and tomato sauce, no pasta. It's sort of like an Italian dinner without pasta. I'm being that guy again. I'm sorry. Intermittent fasting. I've always been lazy about eating first thing in the day. Now it's a good thing. Eat dessert after the meal. That helps with the spike. There's a lot of really good information about glucose monitoring. You prep and freeze the food. And then trying to understand the problem spots and the good spots. Like for breakfast, there aren't a lot of healthy choices. There are way too many sweet choices, and that's clearly a bad thing. Eggs often make me feel sluggish, so maybe I make a breakfast sandwich which mixes more carbs in there and freeze it. Oatmeal's boring, but I can add something to it. Snacking, well, I have fruit instead. And a funny thing, and I'm going on, and I'm being that guy, but I didn't eat fruit because it was messy. So now it's a little thing. I just cut it up and I eat it like a bunch of snacks. That solved that problem. And dinner, salads are work, but they're great. The broccoli and meat and tomato sauce is great. Then the popcorn and all that. And then there's imperfect recipes. The idea is you figure out what you want, then what can go wrong and how you might tweak it and how far. You don't want to make a complicated recipe that focus on a lot of effort and weird things, but I've learned how easy it is to make pancakes and how forgiving that is. So I want to make something that's healthier, easy to prep and store, and a non-sweet breakfast thing. Okay. So then there are imperfect recipes. And the idea is figure out what you want, what can go wrong, and how you might tweak it and make it better. A good example of this is burritos. You make your own burrito and you're wrapping in a tortilla a ton of good things with a small amount of meat. You put onions and peppers, tomato sauce, all of that wonderful stuff in there, and saute it, mushrooms, everything like that. It's all terrifically good for you. Lots and lots of beans. You can keep pushing that, so it's going to be healthier and healthier. And I make these breakfast burritos, and they look terrible in the fridge. I make them and I freeze them, and they look terrible. But you can add rice and things like that. So play around with it. That's all I got. I don't want to be that guy. I'm not trying to give you advice about, oh, eat this and everything will be good. I'm saying try to find a simple way to eat better foods, and maybe you'll feel better, maybe you won't.